Hello class, I'm going to go through the quiz for chapter 6 with you and point out some problems that I saw, and hopefully that will help you better understand the grades you got, the different things you missed. Okay, so this first section, and then of course is the culture, and you have the list of things to choose from. All you have to do is fill in the blanks. It really was not too much of a problem here. I can always look that stuff up as well. This section also was not too bad. You listen to the question and you write your answer. Very little problems on this section. Okay, and then here the clothing. This also wasn't too bad. You had to put the label each item of clothing, including the definite article. A couple people only put the definite article. I'm not quite sure if they just didn't read the instructions. But of course, to get the point, you had to put the article and the article of clothing. The clothing and the definite article, the el, la, los, or las. But generally, not too much problem with that. Okay, and in this one here, you had to listen to the following clothing items and accessories and decide whether you could wear them in a formal, informal, or both. And again, there weren't too many problems here that I recall.
Una corbata.
Una corbata, so that's obviously a formal situation.
Una sudadera.
Una sudadera, so a sweatsuit, that's of course informal.
Una camisa.
Una camisa, that could be both, right? A shirt could be formal or informal, and so on. Okay, so those are just use common sense there. Okay, and then here we had a little dialogue. And you had your word bank here to fill in. So there was not too much problems with this, but you have to sometimes read through the whole dialogue first when you have a dialogue to get the sense of who's talking to whom, the context. I think that will help you. But generally speaking, not too much problems there. Okay, it's in the description of a clothing item or accessory and match it with the correct item. I don't recall this being difficult either. Let's see here.
Son cortos de algodón y los llevo en el verano.
Son cortos de algodón y los llevo en el verano. They're short cotton and I wear them in summer, so it must be pantalones cortos would be the best answer of those options, right? Okay. All right. Okay, and back on to the second page here. Mosaico cultural. Listen to the following statements about shopping. Preferences based on what each person says indicate where he or she likes to shop. Well, let's see here.
Me gusta comprar comida en un lugar grande donde puedo encontrar mucha variedad de productos.
So that would be a supermarket, right? Me gusta comprar comida.
Me gusta comprar comida en un lugar grande donde puedo encontrar mucha variedad de productos.
In a large place with a lot of variety of products, that would be the supermercado. Food would be the key word there.
Para mí, lo más importante es tener una experiencia personal cuando compro. Prefiero comprar cerca de casa y conocer a las personas del área donde vivo.
So she wants to have a personal experience, be near her house and people that she knows. So that would be a tienda de barrio, a neighborhood store. Okay, and then so on. Okay, this one is one you had to write something, and so write one activity following people did yesterday, not to repeat verbs. So one thing on this section I noticed is some people used the same verbs over and over, some 3 or 4 times or more. So if you repeated the verbs, you didn't get a lot of credit. You didn't get credit for the ones that you repeated. So the biggest offender there was using fui, fue, fuiste, fuimos, and fueron. A lot of people use some form of ir over and over. So you have to make sure you look at the instructions and not repeat verbs. But really anything that had the correct form and was logical. So ayer por la mañana yo me desperté a las 8 or whatever is fine. And you had to have the accent mark, right? But you had to have a yo form there in the preterite because it's yesterday. And in this case, the subject is yo. Mi amiga habló con su novio, whatever. Mis amigos y yo, here you need nosotros forms, estudiamos mucho. Or or whatever. Anything in the yo form, the profesor, be in the L forms, and instead people put enseñó una clase. Okay, and then ayer por la noche mis hermanos. Okay. Yeah, anything in the ellos form, mis hermanos comieron en Pizza Hut, whatever. And los estudiantes bailaron en la disco. Okay, any kind of yo form there, or sorry, ellos form. Okay, in the preterite. And you did have to have the accent marks. Some people did not put any accent marks. If you didn't put accent marks and one was required, you lost some points there. Okay, then write 2 articles of clothing or accessories from the list that you will wear in each of the following situations. Really not a problem on that section. Okay. Listen to Gustavo. He's talked about his day, indicate who did the following activities. I don't recall there being too many problems with this, except that the forms are not the same, because here he's talking about himself, and here we're talking about him. So we'll just listen here.
Ayer por la mañana levanté pesas en el gimnasio.
Levanté pesas en el gimnasio. I lifted weights in the gym. So here it says levantó. He lifted weights. So that's Gustavo. So the verb forms don't match up, because here he's talking about himself, and here we're talking about him. Okay.
Corrí durante 1 hora. Luego volví a la universidad con mi amiga Ana. Ana y yo asistimos a la clase de física.
So Ana y yo asistimos a la clase de física is what he says, right? So here it's asistieron because they attended. So Gustavo and Ana, and so on. So the forms of the verbs were different because for that reason. So you may have had to listen more than once and sort of pay attention to who did what rather than just the forms, because they are different for that reason. Okay, and then the ir or say it indicate whether the underlying following is from the verb say it or ir. And I don't think this was too much of a problem. ¿A dónde fue Alfredo? Obviously that's ir. Where did he go? Fue a una tienda, that's ir. El perro que compró fue para Andrea. That's Andrea, that's was. The dog that Alfredo bought was for Andres, that's ser. El dependiente fue simpático, he was nice, that's ser. And fue un día estupendo, that's ser. So you can almost always tell by the context if these forms, which are identical for ir and ser, refer to ir or ser. Okay, going on here. So complete the following conversation between him and his wife with the preterite form of ser. Okay, so this was not too much of a problem either. Oh, you really only had 5 options, and most of it was pretty obvious. Okay. Andres, Lola, and Juan went shopping last weekend. Listen to Juan's statements about what they did, match the statements. Yeah, there weren't very many problems at all here as well that I can recall. Okay. Listen to the statements from a group of tourists about what they did in vacation to Venezuela. Match the statement with the place the tourists most likely went. So let's just listen here.
Mi hermano y yo hicimos surf, tomamos el sol y comimos mucho pescado fresco.
So the best answer there would be una bonita playa, right? They surfed, they had good seafood. So that's your best answer.
Caminé por las calles, fui a museos y a muchos conciertos de música clásica.
I went to concerts, classical music, went to museums, and walked in the streets. So he went to a modern city, Caracas. All right, so again, listening once, sometimes you may have to listen more than once to get the full context there. Okay, the indirect object pronouns. So here you only had 5 options: me, te, le, nos, or les, because we're not doing the os one. And so Jorge's thinking of what the presents he bought for his friends and family last year. Complete the following sentences to indicate what he bought for each person. So, mi hermano pequeño le regalé, or le regaló, he gave him, whatever. Okay. Le, because it's he, his brother, his little brother. A su madre, that's also going to be le, gave her, le, right? Next page. All right, so this one was a little bit of a problem. A su amigo Pablo y a mí, so to his friend Pablo and to me, so that would be nos. He gave to us. To Pablo and me is us, so that's nos. Nos regaló, whatever. A sus abuelos is going to be, of course, les. And then a mí, of course, is going to be me. Regaló, whatever. And okay. Alejandro just came back from Venezuela and is writing about all the gifts they bought for his family and friends with the appropriate indirect object pronoun. Mi viaje a Venezuela fue fantástico y les compré muchas cosas a mis familiares y amigos. Mis hermanos leen mucho en español. So my brothers and sisters read a lot in Spanish. Les compré. I bought for them. The a ellos there also, as it tells you. The books by contemporary authors. A mi primo le encanta el béisbol. Le compré. So, mi primo. Le compré an album. I bought him an album of Venezuelan baseball players from last season. Mi padre es chef de la casa. So, mi padre, so it's going to be le. Le traje harina. I bought him flour to make arepas and a cookbook. A mi madre, that's also going to be le. Right? Para mí, of course, that's going to be me. I bought myself. Y a ti, for you, I bought these chocolates. Okay, complete the following sentences by matching each person with the clothing or accessories he or she likes. A mi hermana, is just matching up. A mi hermana Elisa, it has to be le. Right? A mí, it has to be me. A ti, it has to be te. A mis padres, oops, has to be les, and a Lucas y a mí, that's an us. Lucas and I, Lucas and me, that would be nos. Okay. All right, complete the following conversation with the phrases from the list. These are the gustar type verbs, right? So you can tell here you only have 5 options. A ti te gustan, it's got to be, that's the only te up here. A ti te gustan las canciones. No, él me cae mal. I don't like him. A mí me encanta, hasta mí me encanta, escuchar la música de Shakira. And what do you think of Carlos Santana? Magnificent. Paloma and me, so Paloma and I again, so that's got to be the only one with nos. Nos fascina. And su música, we love his music. And a ustedes, and that's the only one left there is les interesa. You all interested in classical music also? Okay. Read the following ad. Here, you said to fill in the missing ones. A mí me gusta. Right, so it had to be something singular because it's me gusta. So what would be the most logical one? The only ones it could be is ir de compras, el dinero, la ropa de cuero, or bailar. I think bailar is the most logical one. Y me fascinan los deportes. It's got to be something plural, right? Okay. And then me encanta, again, it's got to be something singular. El dinero probably is not very logical, right? So let's say ir de compras. Me encanta ir de compras y me interesan las personas famosas. Again, it's got to be plural because it's me interesan. It ends in an, it's got to be something plural. This is fascinan, had to be plural. Me caen bien something, pero me caen mal something. They got to both be plural. So me caen bien las chicas atléticas. Makes sense. Pero me caen mal. Me interesan. Oh, no. Yeah, it's better here. Las joyas. Right. Because he says, I love to go shopping and I'm interested in jewelry. So, and me caen bien las chicas atléticas, me caen mal las personas famosas. All right, but you can tell by the verb and process of elimination which ones it's going to be. Okay. And the following facts about Elena Stanley. Select the option that completes each of her statements. Mi hermana Alejandra es muy generosa, es muy buena. So she's generous, she's a very nice person. So that's a characteristic, she's generous, right? So it would be es instead of está. So my prima Lucrecia tiene un examen de geografía, ella está nerviosa. She's got an exam, so she's nervous. That's not a characteristic, that's how she's feeling because of the exam, so it's está. El abuelo Oscar murió el año pasado, él no está vivo, so Grandpa Oscar died last year, he's not alive. Okay, está. And This one may not make much sense, but when you are dead, you say está muerto, and if you're alive, you say está vivo. It's the state that you're in, and that is the reason why you use estar there. Okay,